Want to start? Or you want me to start?
We are live here with Marsha Jews of Keeping It Moving. Hey, Marsha, how's it going?
How's it going, Dr. Erick Kelly? We're so excited to be here. We have Donnie Glover on the ground in Washington, D.C., because today President Biden has named 17 recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And the Presidential Medal of Freedom is the nation's highest civilian honor, presented to individuals who have made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, or security of the United States, world peace, or other significant societal, public, or private endeavors. Dr. Kelly?
And of course, President Biden has long said that America can be defined by one word: possibilities. These 17 Americans demonstrated the power of possibilities and embodied the soul of the nation: hard work, perseverance, and faith. They have overcome significant obstacles to achieve impressive accomplishments in the arts and the science. They've dedicated their lives to advocating for the most vulnerable among us and acted with bravery to drive change in their communities and across the world. The awards will be presented at the White House right now, and Marsha, we're sitting here ready to go. And it's got to be exciting, not just for us, but these awardees. They have got to be excited being able to get the Medal of Freedom.
And it's huge. Let's list a couple of them. Simone Biles, and we already know she is America's most celebrated gymnast. We have Sister Simone Campbell, who is a member of the Sisters of Social Service and former executive director of Network at a Catholic social justice organization. Julieta Garcia, Dr. Julieta Garcia, is a former president of the University of Texas at Brownville, where she was named one of Time Magazine's most best celebrated college president. And Gabrielle Giffords, who's a former congresswoman. She was the youngest congresswoman ever elected to the Arizona State Senate, serving first in the Arizona legislature and later in the United States Congress. A survivor of gun violence, she co-founded Giffords, a nonprofit organization. Fred Gray was one of the first Black members of the Alabama state legislature since Reconstruction as an attorney. He represented Rosa Parks, the NAACP, Martin Luther King, who called him the chief counsel for the protest movement. So you see the next one?
Yes, of course. And then, of course, posthumously, which means that this is an award after someone passes. And it's, of course, Steve Jobs, who was the co-founder and chief executive and the chair of Apple Inc., CEO of Pixar, and held a leading role at Walt Disney Company. Then, of course, Father Alexander. These names are killing me, Marsha. Carlotius. And Father Carlotius is the former vice general and of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America. After 50 years as the priest providing counsel to several U.S. presidents. And then, of course, Kaiser Kane. He's a Gold Star father and founder of the Constitution. I got to slow down.
Yes,
Literary and National Unity Center. He's a prominent advocate for the rule of law and religious freedom. Then, of course, Sandra Lindsay. And Sandra Lindsay is a New York critical care nurse who served on the front lines during COVID-19 pandemic. John McCain. John McCain, of course, he died in 2018, was a public servant who was awarded a Purple Heart and one gold star.
Please take your seats and silence your phones. The program
and then, of course, Diane Nash. And you notice they're telling us to silence our phones.
Yeah, but they can't hear us.
Yeah, we're waiting for Donnie Glover to come on so he can kind of give us some commentary. If not, we're going to carry on with our side of the program.
Yes. Well, let's go to Megan Rapinoe, who is an Olympic gold medalist and two-time Women's World Cup champion. She also captains OL Reign in the National Women's Soccer League, as well as Richard Trumka, who posthumous, who was the president of 12.5 million members of the AFL-CIO, and Brigadier General Wilma Vaught, one of the most decorated women in the history of the United States military, breaking the gender barriers through those ranks. And Denzel Washington, actor, director, and producer, has won 2 Academy Awards, a Tony Award, 2 Golden Globes, and the 2016 Cecil DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award. He was also served as national spokesperson for the Boys and Girls Club of America for over 25 years. And Raul Zaguirre is a civil rights advocate who served as CEO and president of the National Council of La Raza for 30 years. He also served as a U.S. ambassador to the Dominican Republic under President Barack Obama. And it looks like they're getting settled in the White House. So let's see what happens now.
And of course, we want you to know we live on Black USA News.
Yes.
Donnie Glover, where he's on the front lines for us. We're sitting back, relaxing. We're going to watch what's happening. And these 19 recipients, they have got to be so exciting because this is an exciting time in America.
It's historic. And I'm glad to see that President Biden is recognizing these people. Their works will always be remembered. And, you know, too often people do such wonderful things and we don't even get acknowledgement. So it's really wonderful. Oh, and that gentleman, no, I thought was the director, the person who's the Secretary of Defense, General Lloyd Austin, and I thought that's who it was. I don't have my glasses on. So that's who I thought it might be, but he may very well be there in a suit since he's a retired 4-star general now. Mm-hmm. Brilliant man and part of the Career Communications Group Black Engineer of the Year Award, Stars and Stripes. And he's just done remarkably well. And, you know, to have had he and Colin Powell to be in that position is just really wonderful.
Well, you know, when you're getting an award, and just like you said before, a lot of times people are doing great things, and great people don't run around saying that they're great. They just do great things. And it's always great when we get an opportunity to sit back and watch history unfold. So, all of those listeners and all of the audience, we want to thank you for tuning in so that we can turn you on to this great event. It's going to be one of those events that you're going to remember, just like, you know, and I want to go off script just a little bit. Ketanji Brown Jackson, who just was appointed to the Supreme Court, that has more
huge
award. You know, want to say something about that before we get into this while we're waiting, because a lot of times people don't think of the magnitude that these positions are. What did you think about Ketanji Brown?
Oh, she's my Facebook picture. I'm so excited about this, and it's really critical. And the Supreme Court is in a pivotal position right now, and we need all the strength and power and intellect and compassion possible sitting on those benches. And we can't ignore what the fight has been with the Supreme Court. So her appointment, just tickled, and I think the whole country is really excited about this, because we will be able to hopefully see some changes that we didn't even understand what we were looking for. And so for her to be able to be positioned, and she worked hard and deserves all of the accolades that she's getting now.
Well, I believe that she won at 54-47. It didn't matter to me long as she got in. And you know, when you sit back and understand, I say this morning on Donnie's show, is that now we got a black woman who's going to say what's right is right, and that's right, it's right. Let's go with right. Let's don't go with feelings. And you know, that has got to be something that we all can look forward to, as many things have been changed. You got Roe versus Wade that was just changed. And
I'm so upset about that. I can't even speak about it. I have to keep my decorum.
I have to keep my decorum too, because at the end of the day, a woman should be able to say whatever she wants to say to do with her body. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
And hopefully, and I shouldn't say hopefully, I'm looking forward to that being changed down the line. But let's get back into the President's Freedom Award.
Yes.
And look at some of the people, like, some of the Olympic folk. And then of course, Denzel Washington. How long do it take to get Denzel that award, man? He should have got that award
a long time ago.
Gentlemen, please take your seats. The program will begin shortly. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a couple of minutes. What does shortly mean? I've always wondered. People always say we're going to do this shortly, and then by that time I've grown 12 new gray hairs. So shortly, what is?
Well, shortly is one of those words people use to get people to sit down and be quiet. Shortly.
They're stirring the pot.
They're stirring the pot. They're stirring it up. Shortly, we're gonna start, and we don't see anybody on the stage yet, so we know even though he's saying shortly,
right?
People still got to walk across the stage.
That's exactly right. And those are all those winners. I don't know how to make my screen bigger so I can look at it, but it has this little tiny window. But this is really huge. I'm just grateful. Donnie's been going back and forth to the White House since I've known him, and has done a lot of reporting from there, and which is really huge that Black USA News is always where the what do you say?
It's the Vice President of the United States and Mr. Douglas Emhoff.
Okay, we get the Vice President.
Go.
And Marsha, this is the only time we're not going to stand.
I don't have to stand. I was thinking, well, they can't see me anyway. Outstanding.
And what better America can this be?
Mm-hmm.
Vice President, Black woman.
Yes.
And of course, Supreme Court Justice, a Black woman. Come on, Black women, keep doing that greatness, man. We love it.
Yes. Let me turn up my sound.
I'm going to turn up the sound there. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Would you? Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, the recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom: Simone Biles, Sister Simone Campbell, Father Alex Carlutzos, Lorene Powell Jobs, accepting on behalf of Steve Jobs.
Oh, nice.
Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, Kazir Khan, Sandra Lindsay, Ambassador Cindy McCain, accepting on behalf of Senator John McCain. Richard Trumka Jr., accepting on behalf of Richard Trumka. Megan Rapinoe.
Mm-hmm.
Diane Nash. Dr. Julieta Garcia. Brigadier General Wilma Vaught. Fred Gray. Ambassador Raul Izaguirre. And Senator Alan Simpson.
This has definitely got to be the highlight of their lives.
Oh, indeed. I'm so grateful to see this actually happening. Everybody's got their little phones out taking pictures. It's cute. Have some elders over there. It's nice. Give me my accolades while I'm living, right?
That is the honest truth, man. A lot of times people
Mm.
don't get them.
We don't sometimes even think about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
people have given their life's work and we don't really know what all. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Please have a seat. Good afternoon and welcome to the White House. I know this is it's kind of an old place for some of the guys who come here. But thank you all very much, and to all the cabinet members, elected officials that are here, and former elected officials like Joe Lieberman, and our good friend is here. So many critical people and important people. I want to thank the Vice President Harris, the Second Gentleman, for allowing us to join them. No, it's for joining us, but it is always a pleasure when we get to hang out together. On Monday, we celebrated the independence of our nation. A nation always a work in progress, in creation of possibilities, fulfillment of promises. That's the American story. It's not a simple one. It's never been a simple one, but the 4th of July week reminds us what brought us together long ago and still binds us at our best. We strive for what we strive for. We, the people, doing what we can to ensure the idea of America, a cause of freedom, shines like the sun to light up the future of the world. That's the soul of our nation. That's who we are as Americans. And that's what we see, an extraordinary group of Americans up here on this stage that I have the honor to recognize today with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, our nation's highest civilian award. Simone Biles, the most decorated American gymnast in history, who everyone stops everything every time she was on camera, just to watch, just to see her. When we see her compete, we see unmatched power and determination, grace and daring. A trailblazer and a role model. When she stands on the podium, we see what she is, absolute courage, to turn personal pain into a greater purpose, to stand up and speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. Today, she adds to her medal count of 32. I know you're going to find room. 32 Olympic and World Championship medals. At age 25, the youngest person ever to receive the Medal of Freedom. The youngest ever. There's so much more to give. A fellow elite athlete, Megan Rapinoe. Where Megan? Megan is one of the most accomplished soccer players and the first soccer player to receive the Medal of Freedom. Beyond the World Cup titles and Olympic medals, Megan is a champion for essential American truth that everyone is entitled to be treated with dignity and respect. Everyone. Along with her incredible teammates of the United States women's national team, and by the way, my son Hunter and daughter-in-law are here. His daughter is a great high school athlete, and she was so excited to be with you when you won the championship and walking off the field. And we said hi to you. She said, I was busy. So once again, I hope I see her. She'll say, I think I know that guy. Maybe. It depends. Megan did something really consequential. She helped lead the change for perhaps the most important victory for anyone on her soccer team or any soccer team: equal pay for women.
Yes.
And Megan, like Simone, I hope there's room for this medal between all the other awards you and Sue have received during your remarkable careers and your reckless play. I'm watching you. My Lord, you have such, you are good, kid. Simone and Megan would be the first to acknowledge they stand on the shoulders of those who came before them, like Air Force Colonel Brigadier General retired Wilma Vaughn.
Yes.
Wilma is one of the most decorated women ever to serve in the United States military. She enlisted in the 1950s because she wanted to be a leader. She did that and more, becoming the first woman in almost every leadership role she held in nearly 30 years in uniform, shattering conventions, shaping a new tradition of our military. And she couldn't stop after retirement. She led to the creation of the Women's Military Service for America Memorial and the Gateway of Arlington National Cemetery, the first museum of its kind, so that we may know and be inspired by not just her story, but by the stories of millions of women who served this nation in uniform.
Yes.
As a 23-year-old student at Fisk University, Diane Nash received a phone call from Attorney General Robert Kennedy's top deputies, warning her about the violence at the next stop of the Freedom Ride she organized across the South. She replied, and I quote, "We all signed our last will and testaments before they left. We know someone will be killed, but we cannot let violence overcome nonviolence." Think of that. Unmistakable courage and unshakable courage and leadership. Diane Nash shaped some of the most important civil rights efforts in American history. Key architect of the sit-in movement in Nashville. After 4 little girls were murdered at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, she called for a nonviolent movement across Alabama that planted the seeds that became the Selma campaign 2 years later. Her activism echoes the call of freedom around the world today.
Yes.
And yet, she is the first to say the medal is shared with hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans who sacrificed so much for the cause of liberty and justice for all. And by the way, she asked me to make sure to add that because she didn't want to take all the credit herself. Well, Dr. King, Rosa Parks, and Claudette Colvin, and John Lewis, and other giants of our history needed a lawyer for their fight for freedom. You know who they call? They call a guy named Fred Gray. That's who they call. One of the most important civil rights lawyers in our history. Fred's legal brilliance and strategy desegregated schools and secured the right to vote. He went on to be elected as one of the first African Americans to Alabama state legislature since Reconstruction. An ordained minister, he imbued a righteous calling that touched the soul of our nation. And at 91 years young, he's still practicing law. He's still keeping the faith in the best of America. The best of America includes Raul, you're something else, man. No, you really are. You really are. Raul was a son and father who fled violence in Mexico and a mother who was a multi-generation Texan. Raul dreamed of American dream from San Juan, Texas, in the lower Rio Grande Valley. He served with honor in the United States Air Force, then turned to small civil rights
Jill became a professor at local community college.
for 30
I
years.
know I'm biased since Jill's a community college professor.
Raul was
Community college professors are the best.
struggle for civil rights for Latino Americans. Challenging the powerful on behalf of the powerless, never forgetting where he came from and the promise of this nation. Born in Brownsville, Texas, Julie Garcia became a professor at local community college. I know I'm biased since Jill is a community college professor, but community college professors are the best. That's
Yes.
and I've learned teaching isn't what she or Jill does, it's who they are. It's who Juliet is. Over the course of her nearly 30-year career, she helped transform her community college into the University of Texas at Brownville, where she became its president and the first Hispanic woman to serve as a college president in American history. Believing education is the cornerstone of our democracy, she created a culture of excellence, affirmation, and intellectual curiosity for generations of students, many of the first in their families to go to college, and who see their American dream through her and because of her. Other than my family, the biggest impact in my life were the nuns at Holy Rosary and St. Helena's schools, the Sisters of St. Joseph in Claymont, Delaware. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Nuns never forget a thing. Never. And by the way, I was doing Villanova's commencement, and one of my nuns from school was getting her doctorate degree. I presented it to her, and she said, "That was pretty good, Joe, but you said you instead of me at the time." They taught me in school, and they helped me. I used to stutter very badly.
You know me for what you know, what I
Gave me
do,
confidence that I could do anything.
what you do the least.
So many people from the nation, Sister Simone
That's
Campbell,
what Simone, that's what she does. Not
for
the
the
past
past 50 years. She embodied the belief in our church that faith without hope is dead. You know me for what I do. And what you do the least of she does. The nuns on the bus were simply remarkable. I wasn't going to do this. They told me not to. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to tell a story. I went over to see Pope Benedict in his last couple months. We didn't know at the time. And we had a long conversation. He's a great theologian, a very conservative theologian. And my avocation is theology. You come to my house, there's a whole wall on comparative theology. I know Alan's. And so we finished the conversation. He was very generous, and he put his hand across the desk and put it on my hand. He said, "Can I ask you a favor?" And then I was vice president, Mr. Vice President. I said, "Of course, Your Holiness." He said, "I'd like some advice. You have any advice for me?" I said, "It'd be presumptuous of me to give you advice, Your Holiness." He said, "No, really." And I smiled and I said, "Well, one piece of advice." I said, "I'd go easy on the nuns. They're more popular than you are." The fact that 6 weeks later he retired, I don't know what anyone doing. But sister, your standing up was a big deal, a big, big deal. Becoming a lawyer to represent the poor and the left behind a decade ago as the nation was debating the Affordable Care Act and the values of our budgets, there she was, leading a group of nuns in a nationwide bus campaign to make the case, the moral case, that health care is a right in this country, not a privilege, and the obligation to help other people most in need. Compassionate and brave, humble and strong, today Sister Simone remains a beacon of light. She's the embodiment of a covenant of trust, hope, and progress of our nation. And I'm happy to call her my friend. Thank you, sister. Another dear friend of mine, and the reason why back in Delaware in the Greek community I'm known as Joe Bidenopoulos. You think I'm joking. Father knows I'm not. Father asked me whether I'm still blessing we Roman Catholics bless ourselves down here into the left shoulder. Greek Catholics go down and do the right shoulder. I find myself being more Greek sometimes than others to get me in trouble. You want to know how I lived? Father Carlotus, you, more than 50 years, your leadership in the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America has mattered to every prelate in the Greek Church. You've been an incredible leader, Father. A man of deep moral clarity and calling. He's advised generation of presidents and parishioners with unmatched humility and grace. I've traveled the country and the world with him, including Father Alex's homeland in Greece, to strengthen the bonds between two nations founded on the belief that democracy is the way. And on more than one occasion, Father Alex and I have had the honor to visit His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew, which is a great honor. This is the 100th anniversary of the Greek Orthodox Church in America. We honor one of the most dedicated leaders, my dear friend, Father Alex. Speaking of faith, when you meet Gabby Giffords, Congresswoman Giffords, you're reminded of the strength of faith. And the power of public service. Elected by the people of her hometown
in Tucson, Arizona, because they trusted her. They trusted her. They still trust her. They believed in her. They learned, and they learned as a nation what they learned, and what the whole nation has learned. She's the embodiment of a single significant American trait.
Never, ever give up. My dad, Hunt's grandfather, used to have an expression. He said, never bend, never bow, never yield, never give up. Just get up, Joey. Just get up. Proof that we'll not grow numb to the epidemic of gun violence in this nation. Proof that we can channel the pain and sorrow we see too often in America into a movement that will prevail. With her husband, United States Senator Mark Kelly, who, by the way, was that astronaut you all remember. She is more consequential, I acknowledge, but they're helping power that movement. On Monday, we'll celebrate the most significant gun safety law in 30 years because of them and because of the families like theirs all across America. Gabby is one of the most courageous people I have ever known.
Yeah.
One of the most decent, stand-up, genuine guys I've ever served with, and I serve with a lot of senators, is this guy, Alan Simpson. Alan's the real deal. Former United States Senator from his beloved Wyoming, a Republican. We served together in the United States Senate for nearly 2 decades. One of the great things about Alan is he never takes himself too seriously, nor takes me seriously. All kidding aside, this is the real deal. This is one of the finest men I've ever worked with. At his core, he's always believed in the common good and what's best for the nation. We didn't agree on everything, although we agreed on a whole heck of a lot. He allowed his, he never allowed his, I don't know, his party or his state or anything to get in the way what he thought was right. He allowed his conscience to be his guide. And he believed in forging real relationships, even with people on the other side of the aisle, proving we can do anything when we work together as the United States of America. It matters, it matters, it matters. We need more of your spirit back in the United States Senate on both sides of the aisle. Just ask Khizr Khan, who studied the U.S. Constitution as a law student in Pakistan. Inspired by its meaning, he immigrated to America with his wife and their young family when they were very little, but fully believing in the promise of this nation. They watched their middle son enlist in the United States Army with his own dreams to be a military lawyer, but ultimately sacrificed himself to serve his fellow soldiers. And we all watched as the oldest and darkest forces of hate emerged in new ways, only to meet the strength, goodness, and decency of this Gold Star American family. In late November 2016, I invited the Khans to the Vice President's residence at Naval Observatory for a Diwali reception.
an Irish Catholic vice president of a Muslim Gold Star family at a reception observing a Hindu holiday. That, and being very serious, that's the America that we know. That's the America he and I and most of you, I pray God, believe in. We were parents united by the pain of losing a piece of our souls, finding the purpose to live a life worthy of them. After today's a father's medal of freedom will rest next to his son's Bronze Star and Purple Heart. And Keezer Khan, you will continue to carry a copy of the Constitution. They didn't ask you, but I imagine it's still in your pocket as a reminder of the charge that has to be kept. When she was 18 years old, Sandra Lindsay immigrated to Queens, New York from Jamaica to pursue her dream of becoming a nurse. As director of nursing and critical care at a hospital in Queens during the height of the pandemic, she poured her heart into helping patients fight for their lives and to keep their fellow nurses safe. And when the time came, she was the first person in America to get fully vaccinated outside of clinical trials. Sandra, as I told you before, if there's any angels in heaven, they're all nurses, male and female. No, for real. They really are. Many of you who've spent a lot of time in the hospital, as some of us have, you know. Doctors let you live. Nurses, male and female, make you want to live. Make you want to live. Sandra's vaccination card and hospital scrubs and badge are part of the Smithsonian National Museum of American History exhibit on COVID-19. Today, she receives our nation's highest civilian honor and deserves it. And the man who couldn't be here today but wanted to be, Denzel Washington, one of our greatest actors in American history. Academy Awards, Golden Globes, Tony Awards, wide acclaim and admiration from audiences and peers around the world. He couldn't be with us today, but I'll be giving him this award at a later date when he's able to get here. I'll now turn to the three medalists who are being awarded the medals posthumously. To the families, I know receiving this award on behalf of their loved one is bittersweet. It brings honor, but it brings back everything in its heart. It brings you, reminds you of the day that you lost them. But I know anything and I appreciate your willingness to be here on this day. We've already seen more technological change in the last 10 years than almost ever before in history. We're going to see a lot more change in the next 10 years. And much, much more of that is because of Steve Jobs. Not just because of his innovations and inventions revolutionized personal computing and our way of life. It's for his embodiment of the core American character that he believed was in each of us. Character that get tested as setback and failure, character that's true and perseverance and daring, character defined by what we leave on this earth when our time comes. And what Steve left us is something special. Technology with the capacity to improve our lives in ways that haven't even yet been thought of. And the love of his family, Lorraine Powell Jobs, and their children, who I had the great honor of working with in the camp when I was doing the cancer moonshot in the previous administration. They carry on this incredible legacy of doing big things, perhaps biggest of all, helping us end cancer as we know it. Because it matters. It matters. It matters to people who need help is why they do it. It mattered to Steve Jobs. Richard Trumka, he said about unions, quote, "We do America's work." No one did more work for American workers than he did. For Rich, his work was synonymous with the word that defined his life, dignity. Dignity. Dignity that comes with a good paying job that builds a good and decent middle class life. And his work was fierce, always trying to do the right thing for working people. fighting for and protecting their wages, their safety, their pensions they earned and deserved, fighting for the worker power and for America itself and our economic might and dynamism. In more than 30 years of friendship, he's always honest, fair, and tough and trustworthy. The guy you want in your corner. In fact, I was in Cleveland yesterday, announcing one of the most significant actions to protect pensions for millions of workers and retirees in 50 years. Barbara, Rich Jr., and the family, we felt him there. We felt him there with us, and we talked about him. And we feel him here today. Rich Trumka was the American worker. Was the American worker. When I was a young man, too young to be served in the Senate, but old enough to get elected, you can't be sworn in until you turn 30, but you get elected before that. I got elected 17 days before that. And I had the great honor, because of a guy named Mansfield, the majority leader from Montana, to put me on a very coveted committee at the time, the Foreign Relations Committee. That's when I first met John McCain a couple years later. He was a Navy liaison in the United States Senate, a liaison to our committee. When we traveled with a Navy liaison personnel. John and I traveled the world together, literally traveled the world together. We became friends. We agreed on a lot more than we disagreed on. And although he was my Navy liaison, I turned to him for advice lots of times when we were talking about foreign policy issues abroad. But the two things we never talked about. We never talked about his imprisonment in the Hanoi Hilton, nor the death of my wife and my daughter. The pains were significantly different, but somehow we seemed to sort of understand one another. It was a long time ago. We both wanted to make things better for the country that we both loved, and that never wavered. In fact, I admit to my Democratic friends, I'm the guy that encouraged John to go home and run for office, for real. I knew what incredible courage, intellect, and conscience he had. We used to argue like hell on the Senate floor, but then we'd go down and have lunch together afterwards, as you remember. We ran against each other, which I didn't like, on tickets to the highest office in the land. I was the candidate for vice president, he was the candidate for president. I never stopped admiring John, never said a negative thing about him in my life, because I knew his honor, his courage, and his commitment. That was John McCain. And the code he inherited from his family that served before him is passed on to his brothers, sisters, children, grandchildren today. Cindy, Madam Ambassador, and the family, I'm honored you have to accept this medal on his behalf. As they say in the Senate, a point of personal privilege. I was John was staffing me on a trip to Asia in the late 70s. And we stopped in Hawaii. And Cindy, I think you were there on vacation. And you were talking to my wife, Jill. And John kept looking at her. and he talked about her. So Jill and I did something which was a little presumptuous. We made sure they introduced one another. He still owes me. It's the best thing we ever did for John. The very best.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
That's good. That's what he talked about when we left. And he didn't take long to call you, did he, when he got back? My fellow Americans, please congratulate this year's Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient.
Wonderful.
And of course, as we wait for Danny to come in, I'm going to
ask the military aide to read the
so
rest
that
of
we
the
can begin to have some conversation about what we just witnessed. You know, when you begin to look at all these great people who have given this opportunity, it's got to be a great day in their lives as they begin to go ahead and put these awards around each and everyone's neck.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important that people see that we don't ignore all of the
Simone
great
Biles
works
is
that
the
people
every
do.
American gymnast in history.
Without a doubt.
Former foster child who became a once-in-a-generation athlete, transforming her sport with artistry and degrees of difficulty that reimagine what is possible. With absolute courage and honesty, she expands the legacy of our greatest champions who challenge the powerful and speak up for justice and the wellness of body and mind. Leaning on faith in God and family, Simone Biles is an inspiring symbol of strength, grace, and pride in those three letters, USA.
Yeah.
The youngest one ever. That is awesome.
Isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant athlete.
And a black woman. It started out with a black woman. We
I'm
on the same
grateful.
movie.
I'm grateful. Grateful. Oh, yeah, y'all don't want me to sing.
Simone Campbell. Inspired by nuns in Catholic school, Sister Simone Campbell has dedicated her life to the suffering and the searching. For nearly 50 years as a nun and an attorney, she has led organizations that provide free legal services to the poor and advocate for workers and immigrants. Her moral courage helped pass the Affordable Care Act and guide the Nuns on a Bus tour across America to protect the impoverished. With humility and fearlessness, Sister Simone embodies the blessing of faith in God and our obligations to one another as fellow Americans.
Come on, Joe.
I know. He doesn't have his reading glasses on. Go sit down.
Really?
Julieta Villarreal Garcia.
You see how hard it was to say his name?
Yes. Yes. I knew it when I looked at all those syllables. It's her name.
Born in a Texas border town, Dr. Julieta Garcia became the first in her family to graduate from college and the first Mexican-American woman to lead an American college or university. Over 2 decades, she transformed her hometown, University of Texas, Brownsville, into a center of excellence for countless students who were inspired by her example.
I love
A
it.
trailblazer and a mentor, Dr. Garcia is considered one of our nation's top university administrators who understands the power of education as the great equalizer in America.
Mm-hmm.
God, like I said, it's got to be a great day in their lives.
Oh, forever remember.
Gabrielle Giffords.
She went through a lot.
Mm.
A daughter of Tucson, Arizona, former U.S. Representative Gabrielle Giffords epitomizes public service. Voters elected her 5 times to state and federal office. Even after that January day in 2011 that shocked our nation's conscience, she summoned the courage to keep serving. She learned to walk, speak, and write again.
Yes.
With the support of her husband, U.S. Senator Mark Kelly, she turned pain into purpose as one of the most powerful voices working to end gun violence in America. Because of her, lives will be saved and America will be safer.
It goes well with her pearls.
Mm-hmm. Takes a lot of courage, man. It really does.
Yes, and she's a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
She's a real warrior.
Fred David Gray.
Fred was sitting there looking around.
Right. Who's Fred? Where is he?
When Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of the bus, Fred Gray represented her in front of the courtroom,
Yeah.
just as he did for Martin Luther King Jr. and
Yeah.
countless marchers for justice. Risking his own safety, he helped secure voting rights, desegregate schools, and win other battles for the soul of our nation. A patriarch of a family and a movement, Fred Gray is a lawyer by trade and a preacher at heart who follows the command to hate evil, love good,
Yeah.
and establish justice in the gate.
Amen. The courage. The courage. It's
And a lot of times people don't even understand the climate at that time.
That's right.
The climate was not like now.
Mhm.
You know, people was getting bombed. People was getting
Yes.
shot, and it just was a rough time.
Yes. Yes. And they all made a life decision.
Yes.
Life or death decision. I'm going to do this
Lorraine
until
Powell
I
Jobs
can't.
accepting on behalf of Steve Jobs.
I think it's going to be interesting to see
Few people in history embody the American
what
spirit of
happens
innovation like
after
Steve
everybody
Jobs,
gets their medal.
the adopted son
Yeah.
of high school educated parents.
Because your life
he
is not
redeemed
over. You're still
soda
doing
bottles
things.
to pay for his meals after dropping out of college.
This
At
is
every
like
turn of
the
life, he dared to
wind
think
beneath their sails.
As the co-founder of Apple, he created one of the most important companies in history, bringing
Yes.
computing into homes and phones and revolutionizing our way of life. A true
Mhm.
visionary, a beloved husband and father, Steve Jobs embodied that most American of questions: what's next?
Yes.
Alexander Karlustis. Protopester of the Ecumenical Patriarchate, the former Vicar General of the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America, Father Alexander Karlustos is a humble servant of God and the embodiment of the ancient idea that binds two great nations, democracy. Through more than 50 years of service with moral clarity, love of family, and pride in the Greek American community, the man known simply as Father Alex to presidents and parishioners alike inspires us to believe in the power of we, the people.
Mm-hmm.
They're having a little sidebar conversation.
Always. Always.
Uh-huh.
Look at him, still talking.
They're buddies. They're buddies.
Well, you know, it's always good when your friends can give you the highest award in the camp.
That's right.
Kazir M. Khan.
Gold star.
A son of farmers in Pakistan, Kazir Khan studied law, inspired by the U.S. Constitution. He met and married a college classmate, Ghazala, and together they immigrated to America. A brilliant lawyer, he watched their three sons follow their American dreams, including their middle son, Army Captain Humayun Khan, who enlisted during college and paid the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq. The father of a Gold Star Muslim family, Khizr Khan turned pain into purpose to become a foremost defender of the ideals of our Constitution and the embodiment of its highest ideals. Sandra Liza Lindsay. An immigrant from Jamaica, Sandra Lindsay is a nurse in Queens, New York, and the first American to be vaccinated against COVID-19 outside of clinical trials. At the height of the pandemic, she directed a team of nurses as they worked tirelessly to save patients while risking their own lives. When the COVID-19 vaccine became available, she was a ray of light in our nation's dark hour and continues to champion vaccinations and mental health for healthcare workers. She represents the best of America.
Yes.
See, you just never know when you do something that's going to happen, because she was doing something, that a lot of people still don't do.
Right. And she was moving fast too, and sacrificed herself to make it happen
For the world.
with great sacrifice. Looking beautiful in that yellow.
Cindy McCain, accepting on behalf of
Yes.
John McCain III. John McCain was a giant among Americans from a
Yes, he-
family of patriots, a genuine hero who endured unspeakable torture as a prisoner in the war in Vietnam, a true public servant elected twice to the U.S. House of Representatives and 6 times to the U.S. Senate by the people of Arizona, and nominated for the presidency by the Republican Party. Respected around the world, he was an eternal optimist who believed in consensus, character, and putting country first.
Yes.
His legacy continues to challenge us to cherish integrity and serve with courage and conviction.
It's wonderful.
Diane J. Nash. A fearless leader of the Freedom Rides and Nashville sit-in movements, Diane Nash was a fierce light in darkness. She did more than dream a better America. She helped build one. As a founder of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in the 1960s, she led some of the most important 20th century civil rights campaigns that inspire activism around the world to this day.
Yes.
For her strategic savvy and absolute courage, Americans owe a debt of gratitude to Diane Nash for helping forge a path toward a more perfect union. Megan Rapinoe. World Cup champion, Olympic gold medalist, named the world's best women's soccer player, Megan Rapinoe is one of America's great athletes. Known for her creative play and leadership, she also leads with a fierce will off the field. A champion protecting the rights of fellow LGBTQI+ Americans. a leader on the U.S. women's soccer national team, perhaps the most dominant of any team in any sport, in their successful fight for equal pay. Megan Rapinoe challenges and inspires millions of people who believe in themselves and the possibilities of our nation.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
Alan K. Simpson.
They got to be in a special place
That's right.
for the cameras. That's right.
An Army veteran and public servant, Alan Simpson served
And you know, these are
with
really
conviction and
scripted
integrity
down
for
to the
18
T.
years
So
as a
you know,
Republican U.S. Senator,
Yep.
his
you have to
beloved
make sure
state of
you're on
Wyoming.
point.
That's
Despite
right.
increasing polarization, he brought people together with wit and wisdom to make progress and find common ground. Never afraid to stand up for what he felt was right, he worked on pressing issues like campaign finance reform and marriage equality.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Simpson exemplifies our national ideas of civil discourse, responsible governance, and public service.
Yes. You know, these people have devoted their lives to this nation, to aspects of it.
I'm sure their families are also proud because you know, when you think about winning
Richard
awards
Trumka
like
Jr.,
this, that's
accepting
what
on
it's all
behalf
about.
of
That's
Richard
right.
L. Trumka.
AFL, CFO.
Mhm.
The son of a coal miner, Richard Trumka followed his father into the mines to later become the president of the United Mine Workers and president of the AFL-CIO. He never forgot where he came from and always fought for the dignity of working people.
Yep.
He built worker power by speaking truth to power,
Hmm.
knowing that the middle class built America and unions built the middle class.
Mhm.
No one did more in the last half century to build unions than Richard Trumka did. A beloved husband, father, and grandfather, he was the American worker.
He's there for his father.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful.
And it's definitely gonna be something that he'll be looking at the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life, his children's children.
Wilma L. Vaught.
General.
Retired Air Force Brigadier General Wilma Vaught is one of the most decorated women in the history of the United States military.
Yes.
Enlisting in the 1950s, over the next 28 years, she would serve in Vietnam, Europe, and across America, continually rising in rank to become the first woman to hold every job she ever had.
Mm.
She was awarded the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, and more. In retirement, she spearheaded the nation's first major national memorial honoring the nearly 3 million women who have served in uniform, further cementing her place in American history.
Yes. You know. He didn't have his little reading glasses on. He's trying to get those little things done.
Raul Izaguirre.
Bring it back. Oh, okay.
Born to a Mexican-American family in the San Juan Valley, Raul Izaguirre saw a better world beyond a life in segregated South Texas. After serving in the Air Force, he became one of our nation's preeminent civil rights leaders as president of the National Council for La Raza. Over 30 years, he has forged immeasurable progress on voting rights, education, and more to deliver the promise of America to millions of Latino Americans. In service to our nation, he has helped ensure that America remains a land of possibility.
La Raza is a very important organization. That's great. All of these people have made major contributions to this nation on so many levels.
This is America. Folks, this concludes this event, but we have a reception. I hope you'll stay and enjoy it. Again, thank you all.
Where, Marsha?
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in your seats as the president, vice president, second gentleman, and medalists depart the East Room. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure if we invited to the reception or not, but I tell you, it's got to be a grand occasion.
Yes, and there's comes Donnie, it looks like. Hey, Donnie. That's good right there. How you doing?
Hey,
How's it going? How's it going?
it's going pretty good. How are you?
Right. So you were right there in it. What's the atmosphere?
I'm right here
like?
with Erick Alston.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it's doing. Okay, go. They are.
And so, Donnie, what is when you got there? What was the setup and the expectation that they had for the press? Were there anything specific?
Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. Just do your job, stay out the way. You don't want to get pulled over by Secret Service.
Right, I understand that concept.
I'm from Baltimore, so we know how to. We
know how to behave.
We have no desire to engage with law enforcement, particularly at the White House.
Those were some very interesting winners, people who've made a big commitment. Were there any of these awardees that stood out to you?
Well, I tell you, the Latino gentleman who was on and near the end, when you think about the efforts that he's done on behalf of the Latino community,
yes, La Raza.
and building bridges, it was really warmly received here on the inside. Also, did you notice that Fred Gray was one of the honorees?
Yes,
without a doubt, without a doubt.
And so I'm sure you've done the research, but Mr. Gray has a long track record of fighting for people of color.
Yes. Yes.
And
I'm glad to see
interestingly,
he's still alive.
when you think of Freddie Gray to Fred Gray,
Right.
kind of puts things in context that,
Doesn't it?
yeah, in so many ways, that the struggle is not new.
And it
Or
continues.
they're playing the Negro National Anthem.
Oh. Did everybody stop? They
And
stopped.
that's truly historic.
They changed the beat. Then it march on. Let it sound loud as the rolling sea. Listen, we got Ben Crump in the audience.
What?
Yeah, Ben Crump all the way across the room.
Oh, make sure you pull him in. Pull him in. He's getting ready to do something in Baltimore. With the educational programs.
Yeah.
This whole business on education. You got to get Crump.
Well, I just want you to know that we really appreciate you and Dr. Kelly standing by.
Yes.
It's pretty challenging to respond to your phone calls and text while the president's talking. I just want you to know.
Yeah, I know.
That's a tall order, and I know you're Marsha Jew.
But you know already that I'm going. That's what I do. That's what I do. And if the day that I stop doing it, you're gonna be worried. What's wrong with it?
Okay, that was a good comeback. Here, why don't you talk to Erica also?
Okay.
Hello, Erica. How you doing?
Hey, Erica. How are you?
Hey, man. It is so loud. You can hear their rendition of our anthem.
Yes. Can you give us a couple of things that stood out to you about this award?
We're currently clearing out of here now, and they're hosting a reception.
So what were 3 things that stood out to you with the awards?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Marsha.
Okay, I said what stood out to you with the awards program?
Yeah, mine would absolutely be Fred Gray and the former representative that was shot in 2011. That was kind of tear-jerking, just to see her here and her movement and still fighting for gun violence. As we know, it's still happening. But to see her here was the most moving part for me. Outside of Fred Gray.
You know, I think that.
Let me help them out. Marsha, Honor Blue wants to say a few words, and then we're gonna get out of this room.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, this was a wonderful event. Like when I tell you, I have had a great time, not just in general being here, but it was great to see like history. Like one of the things that Biden said at the end was the representative population of the awardees. That was a representation of America, and I think that sums it all up. Skin colors, race, ethnicities, religion. He talked about how he and Mr. Khan, well, not Mr. Khan, one of the Greek Orthodox bishops who were there, they were together as a Catholic, a Greek Orthodox, celebrating a Hindu celebration. So it was just a really great event.
And that's really powerful because it's reflective.
So hold tight, Marsha. We're exiting the room.
Okay.
Thank you again.
I mean, holding tight, hanging up, or holding tight?
1 second.
Okay. So Erick, Dr. Kelly, what do you think from the things that you've seen that stood out to you?
Well, I think the thing that really stood out was
that
when you look at the people that got honored, and you started with the young lady, Miss Blouse, and then you got to Fred Gray.
Yes.
It really shows you the power of a Freedom Award, because one person was really, whether we know it or not, when you're on the Olympic stage, you're on the world stage, and then this gentleman who's been on the world stage all his life, 95 years old, it was just breathtaking.
Yes, change the world.
You're not taking anything from anybody else, but those 2 people from the beginning almost to the end really brought it home for me when you start talking about America. And then the young lady that took the COVID shot, you know, without knowing life or death. And that's the thing nobody wants to talk about.
At all.
and she continued to do the work.
That was powerful. We're talking about the lady who took the shot for COVID, the awardee who won the award.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really great to see that they honored her for just standing up and being the first one to do it and wait for everybody out there. I mean, that's a really big deal. And to find out, again, didn't know a lot about her, but she had been working really hard before then to keep nurses and people safe. Okay, here we go again.
Gotta go. Hold tight. Thank you.
Okay.
Marsha, stop with the long questions. Let us get to the next destination.
I don't know why you keep trying to insert your madness, because you
I
know
don't know
what
why
you
we put Marsha and Jews on the front there.
You called me.
Dr. Kelly, take over, please.
Hey, no, I'm letting Marsha.
And the day I don't answer him, Dr. Kelly, the day I don't answer, he gonna be sitting on my front step trying to figure out what's wrong.
I was blind.
We have great time because
Marsha Jews, they can hear you at the Oval Office.
Oh, good. Tell President Biden I said hi.
Okay. Please, let's answer Marsha's question. What's the question now, Marsha Jews?
Where do we go from here? What do we do from here? What do we say to all the people from here, Donnie?
Just sum it up what you saw.
You said, what did we see?
But your takeaway.
Where do we go from here? What do we do? What do we get out of today's information?
Well, since I've given away 1,900 awards thus far, I figure another 3,000, I might get a Congressional Medal of Honor. But you gotta, I think I'll have to get older, But big ups to those older Americans, and I can pull out the list, but I'm particularly grateful to see older men and women. And I mean, some of those folks seem like they were up there. Fred Gray, he's been working in the vineyard for many moons. The Latino brother, he's been working in the vineyard. I think the takeaway is keep doing what the good Lord put you here to do.
Right.
And, yes, there will be good days, there will be bad days, but if God gave you the vision, he'll give you the provision. I'll tell you something else. Since the last time I've been in here on a regular basis during the Obama administration, I can tell you there's a new generation of journalists. It is wonderful to see young Black journalists in the house, and I got a couple behind me, 2, 3 of them. It's wonderful to see more of us taking advantage of the opportunities. How you doing? What outlet are you with? Huffington Post is right there.
I love it. Great.
Lady wanted to ask you a question.
Oh, ask me a question? Oh.
Yeah.
Hi.
So you're a journalist from the Huffington Post. What's your name?
Hi, Phil Lewis. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Phil Lewis. So what's your takeaway from this awards ceremony today?
Well, I thought it was great. It was really nice to see Fred Gray and Diane Nash get their flowers in this sense. It was beautiful. I was really excited to see, obviously, Simone Biles, who she received. She's the youngest person to receive the honor at 25. So I think that's pretty cool too. So this was a really great event. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
No problem.
Thank you.
You interrupted that man's lunch. I just want you to know.
That's okay. He's fine, or he wouldn't have come. So what should we be thinking about in our communities and identifying? You like you said, you've given out thousands of awards yourself.
1,900, but I'm committed to doing another 3,000.
Okay.
Looks like April.
I
There she is. There she is. Hold up. The one and only April.
The one and only?
Erica, I need you. I need a photo. Come on.
Where is she?
Can I get a photo with you?
Ryan? Is that April Ryan?
Marsha Jews was saying hello to you.
April Ryan. Oh, he turned the sound down.
He doesn't even know it. Let me see if I can.
Okay, so can you undo it?
That's what I'm working on.
Okay.
I can't unmute it because he muted it.
Unmute your phone. Okay. Are you with April Ryan?
She just left.
She wasn't stopping. I don't know if you could peep that.
Oh, I didn't see it. I was just trying to holler at her.
It was hi and bye. A glimpse in the wind. Did you hear that?
Oh,
Okay, so any other questions? Because
I know
they
you
were
guys are
about
trying to roll out. Any
Yeah.
closing remarks from anybody there?
We want to get a closing remarks from you as we get ready to get out of here. What say you to today's program and getting ready for tomorrow's show?
Okay, well, I can answer that for you. I did get a program. It was sitting on a chair.
Just happy to pick it up.
I'll just show it to you when I get home. Don't want any problems.
No problem. Get off of Pennsylvania Avenue and go do what you got to do.
Well, I have been escorted to the gate before.
I know. I'm sure.
I told them I had to go. You haven't been put out of a place until you've been put out of the White House.
Oh, yeah. I understand that concept.
I can't say that ever happened to me. I think the takeaway is when you find what you have been gifted to do. I think that's the first thing. Find what the good Lord has gifted you to do. And most of us know what that is.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. I was talking with Erica earlier, and I'm reminded when we don't follow the mission that's been placed in us to do, we betray ourselves. We betray our vision. When we built this network, I didn't know Dr. Kelly and barely knew Marsha.
What?
But the point is, you meet people along the way, no matter how difficult the challenge is, the money will come. Erica, how'd you say it earlier about not betraying your... Oh, I know what she said. Tell them the story you told about. Tell her that story.
I was sharing with Donnie that I remember a couple of years ago sitting on my front porch crying because I hadn't gotten jobs that I applied for. And I was like, what's wrong, God? I'm doing everything you told me to do. I know that I'm qualified, but I just kept getting turned down. And he revealed to me that I am my job. I wasn't supposed to be working for anybody else. So our conversation was about people who give up on this entrepreneurship journey. It's not easy, but if you're called to do this, you got to stick and stay. So, yep.
That
you are your job.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. And we're going to be signing off. Be More News.
Safe travels.
BlackUSA.news. And Dr. Kelly and Marsha, we really thank you for picking up the ball. I know it was longer than asked of you, but you both were yeomen. How you doing, sir?
Well,
good.
We like to serve, so we are of that service mentality.
This must be a Washington D.C. photographer, sharp as a tack from head to toe.
No question. They don't be playing. Wait.
They want to talk to you.
How we do in D.C.
Can you say hello? I told them you were sharp as a tack from head to toe. They want to know who you are.
Roy Lewis.
Oh, hey, Mr. Lewis, how you
Washington
doing?
Farmer. Who is that?
Yeah, Marsha Jews. You don't know me, but I've seen you and I know your name.
You all right?
Because you big time over there, brother.
Well, you know, we just trying to keep up the good showing. We got to represent. You know, you got to show up.
Yeah, we know about y'all over there.
Yeah, well, we try to come over there. I need to come over to Baltimore and check y'all out.
Yeah, because we need to be doing some, stuff together.
Look, I'm telling you, just all you have to do is invite.
All right. Well,
I'm going to give his brother my card.
There you have it. Love y'all.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much for having us.
Great job, Donnie. And of course, Marsha, we get a chance. He just popped out. He was ready to go. But the one thing about Donnie Glover, not only does he get around, he makes sure that other people are involved. And, he celebrates people all the time. And today's celebration was more than just a celebration. It was a celebration of life for people who all over the world who got an opportunity to share in the greatness that they have done in North America. And we got to also say, not only thank you to Donnie, thank you to you for the great work that you're doing on these Thursday nights, in the metaverse on STEM City USA. I keep getting those emails. I keep getting those emails. We keep it moving. It's just got to be one of the top shows that people need to tune in every night.
Well, we're not on every night. We're on Tuesday nights. One day we'll evolve to the long where we just want to make certain that you're doing it well. And we had Prince Adebayo on, who is running for president of Nigeria. And check out that show for those of you. You can see it on WKIM YouTube or Black News USA, Black USA News. It's very interesting. And when you sit down and you look at the problems that have been going on in Nigeria that are so massive, but it's important for us as Black people to be able to support leaders for other nations that are run by Black people, because we have too many other countries trying to settle into those Black nations and taking control. So somebody asked me, why are you doing that? Because it's critical, and we can't ignore the possibility of what we can do to help them to be better than what they can be by themselves. So where there's more than two or three together, the Lord is in the middle of it. And that's what we need to be able to do to make certain that we have that.
And a lot of times when people all around the globe see, leaders like the leaders like him on a platform such as this, then he's able to share that information with other people so that people can see that he reaches out to a global marketplace, and he wants to take his country to another level. Because as you say, the Japanese and the Chinese and other nationalities are going into Africa, and they are taking over, and they just making Africans consumers all over again. And here in America, we see it all the time. The $1.6 billion, we are more consumers than people who are creating businesses for ourselves. Right. So at the end of the day, we have to not only support people in Nigeria, we got to support people all over the globe, because at the end of the day, we are all that we have.
That's exactly right. And I don't care what the percentage of melanin is in your skin, that makes you a Black person as far as I'm concerned. And that one drop says that we owe it to one another to be the best that we can be and to build the best that we can build.
And the more that we do that, the more things get better. We can have disagreements, but at the end of the day, when you sit down at the table of wisdom and you sit down at the table of growth, we have to do it together, because nobody's going to come into us as a community and say, I want to help you up. They generally say, I want to help myself to your pocketbook. So we have to continue to build capacity around the globe and understand how to work together.
Talk about the Black Business Roundtable and all of the programs, because we haven't really talked about what you do. So can you talk about that, please?
Well, the Black Business Olympics is going to be held July the 18th through the 24th, coming up in about 2 weeks. And this will be our 4th show this year. We've already had the show in January. We had one in March. We had one in May. And we're doing it every other month. And we're headed next year, we'll do it every month. But we're doing every other month so that we can get to our goal of 7,850 speakers speaking 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Excuse me, 52 days a week, 52 days in the year. Right now, we're doing 7 days a week. And it's just been phenomenal. We've had over 10 million people to attend our shows. And we had 350,000 last back in May, and now we're scheduled to do the show again. And a lot of times people think we're just doing one show. The show is the broadcast, and we broadcast live. And then after we broadcast live, we continue to run the show for the next 60 days to the next month. And so for all of the speakers who have spoken, you are continually getting your digital footprint being larger and larger. And the reason that we do it is to raise scholarships for Black kids all over the country to help them compete. Many of our kids that go to college, some don't end up finishing college, but many of them start their own businesses. And so that is what it's all about, helping these young people, because we understand that the average age in the world right now is 31 years old. Wow. When you talk about that, in Africa, it's 15. In Europe, it's 25. In Brazil and South America, it's 27. But in America, the beautiful, it's right at 27 to 29. Wow. And so what we're doing is we're utilizing a streaming service that's streaming onto people's phones all over the country and all over the internet. And we're streaming to Hulu Live, we're streaming to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and to several other networks around the country to give that information. And our secret sauce, and I don't mind telling people, is that we do it live, which generates numbers.
Right.
generates people to come. It's an outstanding thing that my mother and my grandmother who started the Black Business Expo. I am the founder of the Black Business Olympics, but they still are the heart and soul of what I do each and every day.
That's right. And so give us a way for people to get in touch with you. I don't know if there's a way you can stream it in front of you or say it, or
Well,
you know how to do all that stuff. I don't know how to do all that.
Well, they can get in touch with us through Black Business, www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. That's
Okay.
www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. And then for those who want to get in contact with us to speak at one of our telecasts, they can email me at erickkelly45@gmail. And that way we can get them on the program. The thing that people ask all the time, is there a cost? And I tell them all the time, no, it's not a cost, because resources are limited in our community, and we must share the resources. And so they can go to Black Business Expo USA, and all the information is right there. The Olympic website is going to be coming up pretty soon, and once that happens, I'll make sure everybody knows about it. But Marsha, how can they come to your show? You know, I can't get out of here without talking about we keep it moving, because I'm telling you, I know you keep it moving.
Well, right there at the bottom, we have WKIM Media Network Marsha, Marsha, Jews, JEWS @gmail.com. And we're on every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. And the other day we were actually on from 7 to 10 p.m.
Wow.
So, right. So we do what we need to do to make it happen. But give us a call every Tuesday night. We're booking into August. So WKIM Media Network Marsha Jews, MARSHAJEWS @gmail.com. That's the easy one.
Well, of course, now if somebody should happen to kind of not make it one of these nights, I want you to make sure you call us, because we are coming up in July, and we sure love sharing our information to the world.
Okay, so we'll have an offline conversation, because maybe what we need to do is do something, a promotion, to let our listeners and readers of our newsletter. So we'll talk about that offline, so we can put it in the newsletter and send it out and have all the information so people can get in touch with you.
Well, we've been on here ever since 2:00. It's
okay.
3:41. We've given Donnie all we can give him today. Yes, indeed. We've given all we can give him today. But to his audience, thank you for taking out the time and listening to the information. We hope that we've done a great job, because we know you're going to report to Donnie, because Donnie did not see all of the show, because he was in the White House enjoying all of the awardees and award ceremony.
Yeah, Donnie goes to the White House with regularity. As a matter of fact, here's his book, Unapologetically Black, and the background is the White House. So I think that's funny that I actually had it on my desk and looked down, and there it is. But you can buy his book. Tell him Marsha told you to go buy his book.
Today. And of course, he has another book, I Am Black Wall Street.
That's exactly right.
And you know, we talk about it all the time.
That's real.
When you look at all of the people that was bombed in Oklahoma, you looked at the people that was burned out in the other cities,
that look like
at
us.
The urban renewal in places like here, Durham, North Carolina.
Baltimore.
One thing, in Baltimore, and one of the key things that nobody wants to talk about is all of those people were entrepreneurs. They were business owners, and they was going up the ladder of progress. And now look at us. We don't have all of those Black Wall Streets, but we need to get back to being in business, because the wealth gap at 171,000 to 14,000, if all Black people would open up businesses, the wealth gap would disappear. And so that's one thing
hire the people in our communities, and train the people in our communities, and educate the people in our communities, so that we're now creating a pipeline for all of that to happen. And we sit down and we look at, not just in, Kansas City and some of the other places, and we have right here, we had all these Black businesses in Baltimore and South Bend and everywhere else. And those businesses are gone. And we've got to rethink about our communities and what we want. What's our legacy for our babies? And how are we going to change that trajectory of their lives and becoming entrepreneurs opposed to workers for somebody else?
Instead of becoming consumers. And again, like
Woo,
I said,
that's another conversation.
I said early this morning, you know, go out today and find a Black business and donate some money. Give them $5, give them $10.
That's right.
Think about
That's
it for
right.
a moment. If we're 13% on this country, and I don't know the population in Baltimore, but imagine half of the Baltimore population walking and finding Black businesses and dropping $5 and $10 on them. You know, it changes their life, because each one of these Black businesses represents a family that's struggling to obtain the American dream.
You know what? This is really funny. So this is like a light bulb going off. So years ago, I used to run Alvin Ailey here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And we would present the company, but we also had camp program, Ailey Camp. One of the things people were like, oh, well, they're not from here. And, they had all these whatevers. And so we were sitting around talking, and we said, yeah, we just give $1 for dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got these big giant, they look like the big giant pickle barrels that you find in the corner stores, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we had a label with the dance logo and give $1 for dance. And we put those all over, I don't know how many thousands. It was like six figures, not six figures, like 20,000 or something we ended up with. But it was give that $1. And those things, we had to go and actually dump them and take them to the bank, because people were putting $1, they put nickels and dimes and pennies and stuff in them. And we did it at the I want to say Oscar Payne, but that was I can't remember his first name. So Mr. Payne owned the McDonald's, and then you had Fullwood, who owned the Kentucky Fried Chickens, right? And so they put them in their stores, and we had them in other places. But while that seems kind of crazy, people don't have to think. And then now you create something that says we want to employ people. We want to build training programs. Mm-hmm. We need to create these programs that go beyond a Baltimore school system or Durham school system or North Carolina school systems. We need to really be thinking, and while I'm saying give $1 for whatever, it's still real, because it's about the thought of giving and affecting change. We spend money on such foolishness and all those designer shit. I got designer stuff that I have in a bag somewhere in the basement that I don't even buy. You know what I mean? Like purses and all that stuff. And then it goes away, and then you go spend another bazillion dollars on some foolishness for people who don't even do businesses products that don't look like us, and they don't even employ us. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a show. We're going to have that as a show. We should have that's going to be my round table discussion about what we should be doing as consumers versus entrepreneurs.
And you know what? That is a good segue to the end, because at the end of the day, we could talk all day. Our Black people need help, and that is what we are about. We are here to serve, and that's all that it's about. No matter how you feel about it, somebody's got to stand up for us, and the best person to stand up for Black people is ourselves. That's right. Because you think about it, $1.6 trillion and being one of the largest being one of the largest countries, not cities, but being one of the largest countries in the world at the $1.6 billion. We got to stop being consumers and start looking at how can we turn that around and put it in our pockets, but put it in our young people's pockets so that they can build a better tomorrow for all of us. Marsha, anything you got to say before we get out of here? As I always say, genius is coming. I see you on the other side. What say you? And we're going to get out of here. And we want to thank Donnie for allowing us to get back together, to do this together, to continue to help our people see that Black people can work together.
And I agree. And thank you all for listening. And hopefully we'll see you on the other side. Check us out next Tuesday, 7 p.m. on this YouTube channel and Facebook. Wherever you see Marsha Reads Jews or Marsha Jews, just tune us in. Take care. Thank you, Dr. Kelly.
Thank you so very much. And for those who don't know, the Black Business Olympics will be July the 18th through the 24th. We will highlight 145 speakers, 7 days a week. Each day will be 12 hours. We take the broadcast, we flip it to turn into a 24-hour-a-day broadcast talking about business. If you're in business, you got to be there. Thank you so very much. The Black Business Olympics, one of the largest business showcases in the history of Black America in North Carolina. Bye.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much.
All right.
And we'll see you later on, folks.